Hello, I'm Jody Graham, and my art practice has been predominantly drawing, and I've been drawing since a child. And my parents gave me a packet of pencils and said, get in the corner there and colour in, and I'm still there, just not colouring in anymore. I'm making art, and in the last 12 months been focusing more on painting. So predominantly drawing is my first love of drawing whatever, whenever, however, experimenting a lot with mark making and drawing instruments from found objects is quite significant in my practice as well. One of my proudest inventions are these drawing gloves that I have, where it all started by just attaching a charcoal to a stick and then drawing with that, and then it got to attaching a charcoal to each finger of a glove that I found on the side of the road, and then I got so excited by that I had two gloves, two hands with charcoals on each finger, experimenting with mark making, and that work has filtered in to this residency. Even though I don't have my gloves here, I've made drawing instruments, and it's the work I'm making here is reminding me how important mark making is, not just with charcoal and pencils and drawing material, also with paint. So there's a similar carryover, but with a wet medium. Anyway, that's going to take me into the King Island conversation. So my art practice is drawing. It's often changing. My architecture's been my main love. All sorts of buildings, a derelict. Got out to abattoirs yesterday. Well, I think of that. Derelict buildings, beautiful buildings that have a haunted history, and anything man-made has been my attraction. However, I have liked birds for a number of years, and that went from drawing a bird on a residency. For a friend of mine, I heard a crow, and when I heard the crow, I thought of him because he likes crows, and I ran off and drew a crow and then popped it on Facebook. And one of the girls on the residency said, "Oh, I like that, can I buy it?" And I said, "I'll see if my friend likes it," and put it onto Facebook, and my friend jumped on and said, "Oh, I love that." So I said, "No, I can't sell it." But what happened on social media was there's so many likes. I thought, wow, a lot of people like birds. So, I did another one, and then, that kept happening, and I drew more and more birds, but the thing that fascinated me most about the birds is not necessarily how they visually look, it's their sound. So I would draw with my gloves often, listening to sounds of birds, using the sound, excuse me, to generate the mark making. So that, I'd end up with quite erratic marks, not just from the gloves, but also from the momentum of the sound that I'm drawing to. So that's the birds in my art practice. So coming here, lots of people have said to me, "Oh, there's great birds on King Island," and I do see them, but I've drawn one in a workshop so far, that's it. So I'm resisting the urge to go to what I know how to do while I'm here, and the pull to go back to a safe place and, draw buildings or birds is quite strong.
Well, I've seen you working a little bit also, and I noticed that's where you think an artist uses pencils, uses brushes. Is it part of going away from the safe place that I've seen you using tools that I think, can you paint with that?
Yeah, someone said to me once, "What's wrong with a pencil?" I use other things to move my approach from my head to my heart. And when I'm drawing with a bone attached to a stick or a spoon or whatever it is, with non-dominant hands, or I'll swap hands often, it's hard to get your ego in there to make it a good drawing, which probably sounds absurd. You know, why wouldn't you want to do a good drawing? I do want to do a good drawing or a good painting, but I'm actually after what happens in between. Like, I'm after a flow state that's not dictated by my critic or ego. It's more the connection with the mark making and the joy of the sensation of how the instrument is connecting with the canvas or the paper. So that's driving the work rather than is it good or bad.
Is driving the work, is it, because I know that for a lot of artists in this country, if you want to make a living from your work, it can be difficult. Is it often then, I don't know in your situation, but that you're sort of forced into commercial thinking to sell your paintings or your drawings, or do you say, no, I draw and paint whatever I want to draw and paint, and if somebody wants to buy it, great?
That's a good question. Because, yes, I'm used to my work going into galleries and, you know, they sell it. It's a commercial, it's a product that they sell. I want to make the work that I want to make, particularly on a residency. So remove that commercial aspect out of the picture and not see it as, is it sellable or is it not? Rather, is it doing something for me in my growth? Where do I want to go? So that does come into it, and it did come into it in the beginning, and then I made a decision to follow my heart, which was go and buy some drop sheets, because we're on an island here, so I can't run off to the art shop, which has, you know, thrown up some exciting possibilities. How can I paint big? What can I paint on? And I found, you know, drop sheets in your shop, in the supermarket. And I'm painting with house paint. You know, I'm painting with things that are not usually that sellable in a commercial gallery, because I'm here to excite myself with my artwork, you know, and it put some heart and love into it. And I kind of think, you know, if I can do that, then it's read that way down the track anyway. So the commercial aspect of it, I admire artists that do the work that they need to do. So that's the road I want to get on and be on.
Yeah. What made you decide King Island, artist in residence?
Originally it was the shipwreck history. So I was at Fremantle researching the Victorian era and the convict ships travelling through the Bass Strait. The Roaring Forties has always interested me, and so that's what originally got me here, was the shipwreck history, the castaway history, people that have survived, generations, the people that survived those shipwrecks. And I did read that there was someone who is a relative from someone. I didn't follow that up on this residency though, because my time frame's been shortened to 2 and a bit weeks because of commitments I have. So what I was going to do was sit on the jetty and draw on a little sketchbook. It lasted a couple of days.
Did it bring what you expected? Like, because you have an expectation, you've been here a couple of weeks. How do you look back at it?
What it told me is that, you know, the best laid plans for me personally can be a bit of a joke. Once the inspiration starts, it's like a rabbit hole, I guess. You know, you don't know where it's going to go, and I followed it. So there's a part of me that's disappointed I couldn't stick to the plan, and there's another part of me that thinks you need to just let go of that and accept that it's all part of a journey. I've learnt other things.
So what is the whole program, and not only on King Island, of artist in residency, is that important for an artist? Is it a great sort of thing that it does exist?
It's fantastic. It's new knowledge, new people, new connections, new visual information, lots of glimpses for my practice. And what I'll take from here is it expands my visual dexterity. So I'm seeing other things that I've never seen before, like particularly the cray boats, because they're a man-made structure, so I'm drawn to them. But looking at the engineering on I call them their wings. Someone did tell me the proper name, but I forget it. And just the step ladders going up the mast. So there's visual information that I don't get from the city that will be built into my vocab, in my art practice. Learning new information, and it takes me away from my life in Sydney, where I can, tell people I'm going on an artist residency, and people say to me, what is an artist residency? It's like this mysterious thing, like you go on an artist residency, you couldn't possibly deal with the mundane things of life while you're on this residency. And it does that to a large degree. Answering emails and doing admin gets really difficult on an artist residency. But it does for me anyway.
After King Island, what's the next step?
Next step is to go home with this work, see what it looks like in a different space. And I've learned a lot about painting here. So how do I bring that back into my practice? Will I develop a dedicated work to King Island? I don't know. I think I'll probably just have some downtime for a week or so and then sit back, do some writing.
And enjoy and think back of King Island now and again?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'll be back. Yeah.